Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Cattle Site, and today we're here with Rory Petre. He is the Executive Director of the Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef. Thanks for being with us today, Rory.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sarah.
Very good, and we're here today at the Global Conference on Sustainable Beef in Denver, and we've heard the first kind of half of the session was a lot about goals, and you guys have established your goals for the GRSB. Tell us a little bit about the conversation now that's focusing a little bit more on how to achieve those goals and how to measure those goals.
Yeah, we set those goals last year in June, and they are around climate, animal welfare, and nature-positive production. So what we're really here, and this is the first conference we've been able to have in 4 years live, what we're really discussing is how to measure against those goals, how we can actually deliver against them, and then measure progress.
Very good. And what I saw, I guess, and heard from your speakers today is there's some very high-level goals, but then those goals have really sub-goals that really go into a lot more detail.
That's right, although we try to stick to outputs rather than activities, so we're not telling people what to do, but we're telling them where we're trying to get to. So each of the national roundtables can implement these in ways that suit their production system and their environment.
And Rory, I think it's worth mentioning that there are national roundtables that have very different production practices that can be a challenge, right?
Absolutely. So we have 24 different countries involved, and there are 12 national roundtables. Some of them have several countries in them. And they produce cattle from the edge of the Arctic Circle right to the edge of major deserts here in the US or in Africa or elsewhere. So clearly those production systems vary vastly in their nature. And it's important that they have the freedom to implement things which work in their own context.
Very good. And that can be a challenge when it comes to establishing, activities, but also establishing measurement. And that was certainly discussed today, right? Is how do you create measurement that you can really use collectively, right?
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a challenge to aggregate it because people are going to have to measure things in slightly different ways. So while we'll be building up a global picture, it won't necessarily all be data coming in the same format. We'll just have to find a way to put that on a sort of dashboard that explains that there are improvements happening in different places. We may not be able to present them all as one to give an aggregate number, but we can at least say, well, progress is taking place all over the place.
Very good. Excellent. And let's switch gears a little bit to talk about your next challenge, which you're going to be leaving, it sounds like, directly from this conference to head to Egypt for the COP27. Tell us a little bit about what your message is and what your activities will be there.
Sure. So COP27 is the climate conference taking place in Egypt this year. And as we're all aware in the cattle industry, there is a lot of criticism of the beef and dairy industries for emissions. I want to go there to say, well, we certainly have ways of reducing those emissions and maintaining production. We also are one of the few industries that has the ability to sequester carbon in the soil. So we can actually put carbon back in the soil, which helps us in terms of resilience of production system, it helps us in terms of water cycle, and it takes that out of the atmosphere. So that's a positive message that the cattle industries, both beef and dairy, have something to contribute in terms of being a solution to climate change rather than just the cause of it.
Very good. And we heard a term today, I guess, that was nature positive.
Nature positive.
Yeah, nature positive. Tell me a little bit about how that, describe a little bit for our readers what that means in our context.
So nature positive production is essentially saying that we can produce beef in ways that enhance biodiversity, enhance soil health, and therefore enhance the ecosystem services from that production system. And we've seen a couple of examples already this morning, really quite exciting examples, where biodiversity under some systems of management really increased dramatically. And not only did biodiversity increase, soil carbon increased, water storage is increased, and the carrying capacity of the land increased. So they're actually producing more cattle on similar areas of land. It's really a sort of win-win that we'd love to see more widely adopted.
Yeah, we saw some amazing data and research today. It was really an exciting day today. So Very good. Well, thank you so much for all your time today, Rory.
Thank you.
This is Sarah Mikesell with the cattle site.